Well, yo, kick back, relax, let's dive in the page. Pam Berry picks got the books for your brain. From fiction to non-fiction, all genres insane. We coming through showing love with a lit game. Greatest stories ever told, gotta find your pick. Imagination running wild, ain't nothing slick. Get lost in the pages, let your mind drift. Pam Berry picks got your brain in the bookshelf vibe. Turning the pages with pride. Pam Berry picks got the words by your side. Bookshelf vibe. Turning pages with pride. Pam Berry picks got the words by your side. From the classics to new, we got the books for you. Get your mind right, let the knowledge accrue. Bookshelf vibe. Expand your horizons by Pam Berry kicks, keeping readers satisfied. Books up high, knowledge we can't deny. Get your reading on. Book one fly. Click cover image.
Hey, so get your reading on. We've got a new author here that is with their breakout book right here, Faith at the Intersections. We have Troy James joining us today. How are you, sir? It's so good to see you.
Pam, thank you for the opportunity to talk with you today. Hey, I am doing fantastic. Thank you very much. Great to see you as well.
I am so glad. So this has been like your debut, your breakout book, I guess you would say that's what it's called. Tell us a little bit about what was the intersection, I guess you would say, of your life that led you to write this book.
The intersection of my life that led me to write this book, Pam. I don't know if there was a defining intersection, right? Because there was an intersection is a moment where everything. Well, an intersection is generally a space where everything stops, right, and it all stops working. And I had a responsibility. I had influence. I was working, I was working with Starbucks. I was seeing success, on the outside, but internally, I started to feel misaligned, right? The season that I was in, it was the season that I was in. I felt as though I was doing well. The way I was leading, the way I was deciding, even carrying pressure, it just didn't feel anchored anymore. And that's when I realized intersections aren't about circumstances changing. It's more about identity being challenged. And I felt my identity being challenged at the time.
Okay. And so the subtitle of this, so that everyone knows, it's on Amazon, right there. You can get it on Amazon. Is 12 Pathways for Navigating Life with Courage, Clarity, and Christ. So it is a devotional. It talks about the intersections of life, family, friends, money, health, and work. And I know that you advise executives for over like 20 years, and you're a certified executive coach now from Harvard. And you've experienced and had experience that have shaped perspectives on faith and decision making. But what are some of the things that make this intersection different from just going through a difficult season? What is it that you saw that is really different for, especially for C-suite executives?
Well, what I've learned is that most leaders are incredibly capable, right? They understand their job, right? They know what they need to do, that they've been in a million situations, but under pressure, they start making decisions from urgency instead of clarity. And faith for me became less about belief and theory and more about alignment, right? In practice and how you decide, right? How you respond, how you lead when outcomes are uncertain. And the difference is subtle, but it's everything, right? It's everything at that intersection of pressure in making the right decisions.
So would you think that, let's just say, people struggle with faith, really meeting that real life pressure and uncertainty, that they're making wrong decisions based on what? What are the I guess you would say the pathways that people can make the best decisions that you outline in the book?
Yeah. Well, pressure exposes what we built our identity on, right? If your identity is tied to outcomes, performance, or control, pressure doesn't just test you, it destabilizes you, right? And faith requires surrender. Yeah. But pressure makes us want control. So now you have that tension, right, between surrender and control. And that's where most people get stuck. It's a natural walk. It's a natural place. It's a natural state that everyone goes through.
So give me an example of maybe something that you went through where we can kind of see, without saying names, of course, based on your background, but not any clients or anything, but give us an example of what that looks like in real life.
Yeah. So an example of that in real life for me would be the season when I just left the company that I was working for. Uh, wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but wanted to do something different.
Mhm.
And everything was on green. It felt like, hey, you need to go. Um, if you want to get a new job, get a new job. If you want to write a book, write a book. If you want to start a company, start a company. And at the intersection of all these decisions, I felt the urge to move forward, but I didn't know where to move forward to. Right.
Mhm.
And it's a very recent season. And what I learned in it, it was just before I wrote the book, was slowing down and listening, even when your faith says, hey, it's time, even when your spirit says, hey, it's time to roll, you need to understand what is calling you and what the next move is. So even though everything will be on green, still time to listen, clarify, and decide what the first step is.
That is really that reflective time that people, especially in the age of AI and all the things on social and TikTok, everything is shorter and shorter. People don't take that reflective time to really sit still and really devote the time to really understanding what's inside of them that makes them tick. So, what is it that really makes Troy James tick? I guess you would say. What is it? What was it that you discovered during that reflective time that you sat still and said, "Okay, this is my next steps."
What I discovered was um, the importance of understanding my purpose, right, and being able to articulate my purpose, right, and articulate and my purpose is to provide hope, right, and to empower people to have agency, because at every step of my life where that has happened for me, man, it was like a boost from a rocket into the next phase of my life, the next phase of my calling, the next phase of helping other people. So that's when I realized, hey, if I want to have a larger impact on the world, I have to really wrap my arms around what my purpose is and my purpose for other people, and how can I do that in a different way than what I'd done before,
Hmm.
right? You know, I built the all in program with Starbucks, where we touched 145,000 people across the country, touching 83 cities, right, in 4 years. Fantastic community work. I loved it. Had a lot of help. We enabled a lot of people. But I wanted to do it on a larger scale. I wanted to help people on a larger scale. Um, and the steps to doing that, one was being free and at a place where I could really embrace my purpose and try to live fully into it 24/7.
Hmm. What do you mean when you say agency? That's the term that you use a lot in the book as well.
Oh, agency is the empower. Agency is what allows you to move forward. And Pam, I had to change. I had to make an adjustment, right, to even how I spoke my purpose. So you say, well, I want people to have agency. Well, you have agency right now. You have agency to get up and walk out of the door. You have agency to fly a plane. You might not have the know-how, but you have the agency to try to do it. But sometimes people need to empower you and let you know that, hey, you do have the power to own your next step, the next direction or the next step that can change your life. The next, if you want to take another direction, then you can. But often we get stuck, right? And the book talks about, the different pathways, and maybe there we go. Faith at the intersection, 12 pathways for navigating life with courage, clarity, and Christ. Yeah, she's got her book. Y'all get yours.
Yeah.
So, in each one of those different pathways, we talk about sometimes the challenges of how do you move forward when you continue to look back, right?
I
Maybe
like
you're
that.
looking back at a place that had you stuck, right?
Mm.
Maybe you're looking back at faith where maybe God showed up or something showed up for you, and that thing that showed up for you is what gave you agency and empowered you to move forward.
It's like the freedom, that actual freedom to actually do that.
That's
One of
right.
the things, this is chapter 10, it talks about the gift of detours. And so a lot of people don't think a detour is a gift. It's like it's a detour, it's problem. But you would talk about some gifts only show up in hindsight. God works in all things, even delays and disappointments, for the good of those who love him and who and live called according to his purpose. And so it really goes back to that purpose again. Really, that's the foundation. I would write chapter 10. But what are some of the things when you're coaching people with the Valora platform that you take them through the steps, and you also have I guess you say a quiz, so to speak. But what are some of the steps that you take people through, or the main step that they should make sure that they get first is the foundation of it?
Yeah, well, Valora stands for it stands for aura and courage.
Correct.
That's in courage and aura. It's the minutia between I can and I can't. Right? You know what's gonna help me get there. And in our Pathfinder, the Pathfinder method that we actually developed, you know, it's a leadership formation framework. And that leadership formation framework, it helps leaders align identity, conviction, performance under pressure, right? We're just talking about pressure, right? And in the book, Faith at the Intersection, what it did was it explored the spiritual formation behind that work. And the framework, right, is how we apply it, which is what we do through Valora and through our Pathfinder system, Pathfinder method.
So the Pathfinder, is it something that on your website on Valora platform, is there like a quiz that they can take there?
Absolutely. You can go online to valoraplatform.com. That's VELORAPLATFORM.com. And you can quickly take the Pathfinder assessment. It's a 5-minute frequency assessment to check your alignment. Right? Or you're aligned in the 4 domains, right? And we look at the 4 domains to be your energy, to be your voice, to be your role, right? And to be your frequency. And you'll quickly figure out that when you're asked to play so many different roles, it's easy for your identity to fuse with performance, right? And you don't even realize it's happening, right? Because the world is rolling so fast at this time. And you're asked to hit the ball out of the park every day. And it's like, well, it's a hard thing to do.
So people can go to valoraplatform.com and do that assessment, because that's the beginning part of locating yourself, knowing where you stand. If you feel like things are a little off, you need to make a pivot, not sure, understanding, because a lot of people need guidance, but you can't get the guidance if you don't even know like where you're starting. So you need to know, like, locate yourself. It was like, I need guidance in A, B, and C. So most people, when what is like the biggest mistake people make when they tie their identity to performance or to outcomes, especially salespeople? I would say that's probably like really, really hard, because that's always the main thing, that it's like you're only as good as your last sale. So what's the biggest mistake people make when they do that?
Well, most high performing leaders are trained to measure their value by outcomes, right? It's like you're as you would know, right? You've been in sales, you've done all these things. Your value matters, you know, based upon your outcomes. And under pressure, your identity begins to fuse with performance, right? And then when results fluctuate, guess what? Your stability fluctuates, right? Your internal alignment separates who you are from what you produce. So leadership stays stable under pressure when you're aligned, right? And instead of becoming reactive to results, when you find your internal alignment, now you can lead from a more stable place, right? Regardless of what happens externally, you're leading from a place of calm, because you're going to have pressure, right? Leadership is all about how you manage pressure. And is pressure going to be the thing that causes you to make the right decision in the right way? All right. Or is it going to be the thing that causes you to make the short-term decision in the wrong way?
You made the book, Faith at the Intersections, as a devotional type of a book. And do you take people through this, or have you taken people through that? And what have been like some of the results that people have had going through the book?
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate. I belong to St. John's United Methodist Church, downtown Houston.
Yep.
with our pastor emeritus, Pastor Rudy Rasmus, our current pastor, Tiffany Tarrant, right, and former pastor emeritus Juanita, who I love dearly, almost as family members. So there, I get an opportunity to teach Bible study once a week, and I've been doing it for almost 2 years. And part of it, right, because we have a group of men, and give a huge shout out to the St. John's Lion's Heart men's discipleship. We've been meeting every morning for I think 1,200 days. 1,200 days at 6 a.m. Yeah.
And right there is amazing.
Yeah. Every morning we're up, we're making it happen. We're aligning with Christ, and we're studying the Word, right? We're searching for His righteousness, and being able to use the faith at the intersections, right? We've done it and use the Bible study in the back. It hasn't only enabled the men on the call, but it has also enabled other nonprofits and other folks that do community work to also use the book when they're engaging outside, in their community work as well, because it's laid out as just a one-stop shop, right? I mean, it has everything there that you could possibly need to have a strong, serious Bible study without you having to do all the work.
And it also has like a leader's guide in here as well.
That's right. Absolutely.
Can actually take it and put it in their church or their company and that sort of thing. That is something that when I was PR director for the Salvation Army, we used to meet for Bible study before we actually got to the work. And this would be a really, really good one for the Salvation Army to have, because it's international, it's worldwide, but they are leaders. They're leaders, and leaders need training. And they also still, even though they work, Salvation Army people don't realize it's a nonprofit, but it's also a church. So it's a church. That's the key word, salvation. So a lot of the human, the rescue, feeding, all the things, drug rehabilitation, all of those things there. But a lot, they come from social work. Everybody comes from different areas. So this would be a really, really good for nonprofits to get as well. And I also work for another nonprofit, and basically it was Joy of Jesus, and we sent kids to camp. And inner city kids would, for 2 weeks in the summer, they would send the kids to camp. And they had never been outside of the urban area, and so they're going out there in the trees. So anyway, so they did this for 25 years under the auspices of the late Reverend Eddie Edwards, because he knew it changed his life when he was a kid. And so that was one of the things. And they won like a Point of Light award and all of that. But one of the foundations for their leadership that we had to, I was at that point, I was a development director. We had to really be all on the same page, so to speak. And we did like a study together, and it really brought all the leadership together as well.
Yeah.
So that,
So the book, right? The book is the formation behind the framework, right? It came first, but it certainly set the groundwork, for Pathfinder. And Pathfinder is the framework itself. But Faith at the Intersection, it's the practical guide for people who are just trying to live their faith in real life, right? In leadership, in pressure, in transitions, in everyday decisions, right? It's about what happens at the moment where belief meets responsibility in regards to what your role is, right? And whether it's in a church, in a business, whether you're a CEO or a director, or maybe you're just a person that, hey, my role is X, right? Just as important as anyone else's. Sometimes, our conviction comes with a complexity to it, right? Yeah. A complexity which intersects everyday life.
I think one of the hardest thing, I think, for a leader or a manager to do is when they have to either reprimand or let someone go. And that's probably the hardest thing to really do. So that's a pressure. And it's the identity of a leader could be, one, they're going to feel bad, but they also know that there's certain things that they have to do. So how would the Pathfinder method, I guess you would say, help those kind of decisions when someone has to make practical decision like that?
Yeah, well, I think first, what Pathfinder does, it allows you to find your identity in your overall purpose, right? You recognize what your skills are. And when you recognize what your skills are truly meant to enable you to fulfill whatever your greater purpose is. So when you know what your skills are, you're aligned with your purpose, you're true to moving forward regardless of whatever the outside periphery is. Even something like letting something go, you realize that it has less to do with who you are and more to do with what that person may need at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Everything is a signal
Mm-hmm.
along the way, and a person's behavior can sometimes be a signal for them and be a signal for you that it's time to make a move, and that's okay. I've let people go before. It's never been enjoyable, but I found that I did them a disservice the longer I procrastinated. And why do we procrastinate? Because of pressure.
Yeah.
And Faith at the Intersections is to help you navigate the pressures in life that come before you. What is the deep breath I need to take so I can make a decision? Sitting back and hoping that everything will work out. Because as we know, things don't necessarily just.
That is true. That's really good. That's really good. It's one of those things where it's one of those things where there's disappointment, but then on the other side of it, that you had to walk through that in order to do that. So one of the things I want to ask for someone who feels stuck and overwhelmed, that seems to be a main thing, and maybe close to burnout, but what is the first practical step they can take today?
So if someone is truly feeling stuck and overwhelmed, I would say slow down and catch your breath.
Mm-hmm.
Often the first thing that we do is run to solve, run to fix, run to alleviate the pressure that's on us. Well, if you're running, you're going to be out of breath, right? And that it doesn't. The first step is to quietly slow down, catch your breath, and try to see what the signal is telling you in this space and pressure. Can you name what the true pressure is? Mm-hmm. Right? Can you breathe through it? And can you look from the perspective of this is happening for me and not to me? It's a hard place to be. It's a very, very, very difficult place. So if we can do that, then we recognize that I'm not a victim. I'm actually a learner in this process.
Yeah.
And if I'm a learner, then I have an opportunity to make the right decision, which might not be the first decision, but maybe it's the decision that takes the most opportunity for me to think about. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Give me a story that possibly it can be an example, I guess you'd say, a story that if someone is standing at a major life intersection right now, and the one truth that they really, really need to hold on to, like an example, let's just say someone could be in a C-suite and they are really, high up and maybe next for promotion, but then they also feel that they have little kids and they're also a caregiver. And then on top of that, maybe they just got a diagnosis for some, like maybe their spouse, and they know that they need to really be there for them. You kind of see that with the lady that just went back to the Today Show. Can't think of her name, can't pronounce her name, but she had to take a step away and she had to break. Now she's back, but she had to step away. She had small kids. Her husband had brain cancer. So what is the one thing that kind of story that you can say where where your faith is at the intersections and you need to make some decisions? The practical thing would be like, just plug through it, keep going through. I'm next in line for a promotion. It's all about money, right? It's like, let's just go. But then there's something on the inside of them that's tugging them, and they really don't feel validated that they should make that decision. What are the things that they should really one truth they should really hold on to?
I think the one truth that they should hold on to is that you're not necessarily the outcomes that you produce, especially when things are happening around you that you really had nothing to do with. They're all unplanned. right? We go through seasons where it feels as though the hits won't stop, right? It comes hit after hit, thing after thing, knock after knock, and it continues to take your breath away. But if you look at each one as an intersection that you have to slowly move through and you have to align with, the key is recognizing who you are in your own identity, not who you are in proving someone right or making the right decision so that other person can be happy about it, right? The right decision is always going to be the one that settles well in your spirit, and that's not usually the easiest one. And that's from taking the time, aligning, and sometimes you realize that it's probably the decision opposite of what everyone else will tell you to do.
That's true.
Right. Yeah.
That's true. Those are the hard decisions, but those are the ones where there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about follow peace and pursue it. And so when you follow peace and pursue it, because there's so many things when you are off of alignment that other things become off in alignment. Your health, your mental health, your physical health, then it may lead to substance abusing, break up in relationships. There's just so many things. It's like, but I've made the right decision that looked practical, but then it was really off center with what I really needed to be doing, because now everything else is crumbling. My health, the physical, the mental. Maybe one part is okay, but then there's other parts that are falling apart, and that's where you should follow peace and pursue it. But you can only do that when you're sitting still and, like you said, doing in that reflective state. And this is like a 12-session journey that people go through as well. And also, too, you're the cover of Speakers Magazine this month, so they can read a little bit more about that as well on Speakers Magazine. I'll put that down there so that people will know that they could go there as well. You're the cover there, but really it just talks about clarity. And I think when people have clarity, that is really like the main thing that I guess you'd say most people really feel like they need a coach for, to help talk it out. Because you can talk something out to a coach, and then once they hear it, the coach hears it and says, well, have you thought of it this way? And and I know you probably had some clients and things like that where it's like, okay, I've helped them and they got clarity. And then what was the next phase after they got clarity? What happened after that?
Well, it's funny. After clarity, the pressure waned. The situations didn't change. Someone was still sick. There was still a decision to make with the job. Maybe the kids are still tripping, right? But there's a peace in the movement now, right? Because you're making it from a place of calm and not one from pressure. And anytime you turn towards the pressure and you can name it, or have a coach like me, your favorite Harvard certified executive leadership coach, Troy James, we can help you move from a place of misalignment to alignment, calmly, step by step by step.
That's so key.
Yeah. Well, we can definitely help you get there, because clarity is the new peace, right? Clarity is the new peace, because when you move from a place of clarity, you're walking in peace each and every time. The noise or the hits that you take, right, that blind you, the clarity that you get when you slow down is what helps you take the hits, right, and continue to move forward.
I love that. So people can actually click and get the book. They can actually get the book on Amazon right here live, or they can go there to your website as well, valoraplatform.com as well, and then also just get in touch with you. So what is the best way for people to get in touch with you? Or if they don't go to your website, what will they get? Yeah,
so, one, I want to encourage everyone to go to the website, because at Valora, we believe the future of leadership is inner-led and outer-activated. Yeah. It's inner-led and outer-activated. That's the only way we can move now. And if you go to valoraplatform.com, that's VELORA platform, PLATFORM.com, or you can reach me at info@valoraplatform.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn under Troy James, or on our Valora platform page. Please just reach out, send an email, send a message, and I guarantee you that I'll get right back to you in a moment. You can also go online. You can sign up for your free clarity session, right? And we'll sit down and we'll talk for about 30 minutes and try to help you understand, or help to understand where the pressure is coming from.
Yeah, that is so key. That is, clarity is key, and then really getting in alignment is really, really good. Well, Troy, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. People are going to get the book. They could go and do the Pathfinder, framework, and do the quiz there. All the good things that you're doing. So thank you so much for joining us. And also, too, you're on Speakers Magazine this month as well. So they'll get that as well. All right. Okay. So we will talk to you later. God bless you. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Right, bye-bye.
Are you ready to get noticed? Pam Perry PR's quick media coverage service is here to put you in the spotlight. Just tell us your story and we'll tell the world. Our team of journalists will craft compelling stories about you, featuring captivating photos and links to your website and social media. Choose 1, 2, or 3 stories and see yourself on high-traffic news sites. Be seen, be in the news. With quick media coverage, your unique and newsworthy story gets the attention it deserves. Visit PamPerryPR.com. That's PamPerryPR.com